If you're not voting for Donald Trump, then you ain't black or an American. President Trump just won the 2024 election, and the Democrats just gave us 34 more reasons to vote for him. The entire judicial system is weaponized against the one man who wants to secure our freedoms. You're either a patriot or a traitor.
You know, if I was a narcissist, I would give myself a pat on the back every time I was proven right with my two wings, same buzzard theory. Yes, I know I keep calling it a theory because even though it could be attached to the, the left wing, right wing thing, I always try to remix it a little bit. So yes, I'm claiming it as my theory when I say two wings of the same buzzard. So you have this woman right here whose name is Valentina Gomez, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Up until this video, I had no clue who in the world she was. Now, if anybody who subscribed to me out of Missouri is familiar with her, please let me know down in the premiere chat or in the comments, because I again had no clue who this woman was. And I came across this on X. I keep telling y'all, I be coming across some of the craziest and wildest stuff on X. So you saw the video right there where she basically did the same thing that Joe Biden did back in 2020 when he said, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And then she came back and said, if you don't vote for or support Donald Trump, you're not black. Now notice what she also did. She said, you're not black and you're not an American. So she slipped us in there, and guess what she did? Many people probably didn't catch it. She says, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not black and you're not an American. Notice what she did. She separated black from American. As if to say, a black person in this establishment, and we're talking about FBA here, you're not a true American. Shout out to Sejahito, because that's his phrase, true American. And we know what they mean when they say true American. You're not white. So I want y'all to really pay attention to it. Like some people, that part probably went way over their heads, but I caught that immediately. So she's telling us that as black people, we're not to be seen as American, almost going back to the 3/5 compromise. The one that says that black people were seen as nothing more as 3/5 of a human being, basically not even human, just barely over half. Well, barely half, I should say. Not even, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're not black or an American. Then she basically said about him being the president, or how he's going to secure the election behind all of this. Let me tell y'all something. Ever since the announcement of the guilty verdicts in all the counts that he's been found guilty of, which was 34 of them, of course, the people over on X who are his stands have been crashing out like crazy. It's like one crash dummy slams into a wall and then 100 more slam right behind that same crash test dummy. It's like one repeated thing after another. And I have seen a lot of wild stuff on X in the last couple of days since then. I even saw one where this guy said that he canceled his trip to New York City or something like that was going to cost him like $5,000 to go, and he says, I'm donating that to Trump. And I'm sitting here, oh my god. I keep telling y'all, Machiavelli is a cult. It functions like one and it acts like one, and it moves like one too, much like this chick right here. And what's such an insult about this is you have yet another person who is not even black, whether they are FBA or not, telling us how we should move. How is what she said here any different than what Joe Biden said 4 years ago? That's why I keep telling people we have no dog in this fight, because they have literally done nothing but show, and I mean nothing but show their ass for the last 4 years. And when I say they, I'm talking about on both sides. Only one of them is just in an administrative position. The other one's trying to get back into an administrative position, and that's all they've done for the last 4 years. And still, the three things that we need for ourselves: reparations and tangibles, the ending of qualified immunity, And an anti-black hate crime bill still is nowhere to be mentioned in anything. All they want us for is to be mascots, a face. Again, it's only June 1st. The election is November the 5th, and this is the best they can do. No, you know what? I take that back. This is the best that they choose to do. Because they know they could do a whole lot more, but then again, I don't expect much. Because remember, I did that video back in March about the GOP gutting their quote-unquote minority outreach program. At that point, that should have told you they were trying to go back to the lily white movement. And even in their little minority outreach program that I had no clue they had, black people were not really mentioning that. They was talking about people like this Valentina Gomez for the most part. They were the ones that was mentioned all up and through that whole document. So this woman, this Valentina, again, someone who I never heard of until now with this, she can take her narrative, her trying to do the copycat of what Joe Biden already said and shove it. We didn't appreciate when he said it, and we definitely don't appreciate when it comes from her. Who is this woman? Who is she? Like, they are literally losing their mind. What? You know what? Let me take that back. I would say they're losing their minds, but they would have had to have a mind in order to lose it. None of them are functioning. It's nothing up there but just hollow air. If you knock on their head, it's gonna echo. Speaking of echo, that's literally what they're in, is one big giant echo chamber. MAGA has literally been that. Like I said, it's the insult for me. It's the fact that she sat up there and did the same exact thing that Joe Biden did, that we criticized him heavily on 4 years ago and she comes back 4 years later and does the same exact thing. But then try to claim that they're two different parties. They're not two different parties. They are exactly the same. If people do not understand by now what their end game is, or what they're trying to, I guess, accomplish, if you want to call it that, I don't know what to tell you. It's blatant. It's right there in your face. They're not even trying to be covert anymore. At this point, the gloves are off. They are in panic mode. They are down to the wire. They are pulling out all of the stops until they cannot go anymore, until they run out of gas. They're realizing that a lot of them have been grifting all this time, and their grift is about to come to an end. It's what Kid Gravity talks about all the time. It's like, what have y'all been doing these last few years? Y'all been doing nothing but sitting up there trying to get 45 back in the office, talking about a rigged election. And when you weren't doing that, you were, of course, doing your other thing, which, of course, is to degrade us. And now you're gonna throw these kind of backhanded insults. Again, you had Trump with the shoes. Then you had him at the BCF. Then you had him, with the mug shots and what happened at the South Bronx rally. And now you have this. Again, it's only June 1st at the time of me recording this. Who knows what else they're gonna do between now. I would say between now and November, but bump that. What are they going to do between now and the end of the week is the better question. Because anything could happen. Remember, his appeal hearing, his sentencing, not appeal. His sentencing is on July 11th. So guess what? Depending on how that's going to frame, they going to get right back on X again and do the same old crash out they've been doing before. Again, what does that do to affect policy? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't take any of these clowns seriously, and they wonder why I decided to become a registered independent. And that's another thing. They love to immediately claim and throw black people into the Democrat Party because, overwhelmingly black people vote for the Democratic Party. But what they fail to realize is way, way, way back in the day before any of us were even thought of, and that goes for us, our parents, and for some of us, our grandparents. So we're talking about maybe our great-grandparents' time. The parties were very reversed. The Republicans were where the Democrats are now, and the Democrats where the Republicans are now is where the Democrats once were. But none of them care to do that kind of research at all. But at the end of the day, one thing remained the same. They both shared ideals with each other. But now it's very glaring. It's very obvious of what they're doing. Black people as a collective, but in specific, foundational Black Americans, we cannot afford to fall for this. That's why I said in one of my Freestyle Friday, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this one thing happens. And I'm gonna tell you right now what I want the one thing to be. It all depends on how the results turn down. If this is a split thing where, like, say when the exit polls come out about demographic wise and race wise and all that good stuff, that it says Black people were this number, or this number for the Democrats went down and this number for the Republicans went down too, then that means we won. If those numbers on both sides of the aisle can be lower than usual, that means we've won. Because at the end of the day, people are still going to vote regardless. But at least no matter who gets in on either side, it won't be because of us. Which means whichever side screws up, it won't be our fault. And also, whatever side does get in, that won't be our fault either. Because guess what? That also means you weren't listening to us and you took us for granted all these years. So that's my one hope. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it can happen. I won't hold my breath, but I will try to keep hope alive at the end of the day.